Let's start with a popular tool, the Urban VPN Proxy Chrome extension. Turns out this extension and 7 others from the very same publisher are actively exfiltrating conversations from major AI platforms. And we're not talking about a small number of users here. When you add up the installs on both the Chrome and Edge marketplaces, the total number of affected users is well over 8 million. That's a huge footprint. So what platforms are they targeting? Pretty much all the big ones you'd expect. The functionality is designed to target conversations across this entire list of AI platforms, and it does this by injecting platform-specific scripts right into their web pages. Now, you might think you can just turn this off, right? Nope. This data harvesting is enabled by default. It's hard-coded, and there's absolutely no way to disable it through the user interface. It just runs in the background all the time, completely independent of whether the VPN is even connected. So how exactly are they pulling this off? Let's walk through the technical path they're using to intercept and exfiltrate all this user data. It's a pretty straightforward 4-step process. First, the extension injects what they call an executor script directly into the web page of, say, ChatGPT or Gemini. Next, it overrides the native fetch and XML HTTP request browser APIs. This is the key part. It lets them intercept all the network traffic. Once they've intercepted the API responses, they parse everything to pull out your prompts, the AI's responses, and all the associated metadata. And finally, that packaged data is sent off to endpoints controlled by Urban VPN. This whole thing happens before the data is even rendered in your browser. And what kind of data are we talking about? Well, it's basically everything. The full content of your conversations, so every prompt you type and every response the AI gives back, plus all the metadata, conversation IDs, timestamps, session info, and even which platform and model you were using. This wasn't always there. Before July 9th, 2025, this AI harvesting code didn't exist in the extension. But on that date, a new version was pushed out, and it came with this harvesting feature enabled by default. And for existing users, it was activated through a silent auto update with no new consent action required. Now, as I mentioned, this isn't just about the one VPN extension. The exact same AI harvesting code was found in 7 other extensions from the same publisher. This is where we start to see the expanded scope and a pattern of deception. Take a look at this list. You've got VPNs, you've got ad blockers, you've got so-called security tools. They span all these different categories, but underneath it all, they share the exact same surveillance backend. And here's how they sell it. The extension is marketed with this feature called AI protection. It sounds great, right? It supposedly checks your prompts for personal data and scans AI responses for shady links. It's all framed as a security benefit for you, the user. But here's the catch. That protection feature is completely separate from the data collection. The data harvesting is not tied to it at all. So even if you find a setting to disable the protection warnings, it does absolutely nothing to stop the data exfiltration. That continues to run no matter what. Okay, this is where it gets really blatant. The Chrome Web Store listing explicitly states, and I'm quoting here, "This developer declares that your data is not being sold to third parties." But then you go and read the privacy policy and it says, "We also disclose the AI prompts for marketing analytics purposes." I mean, it's a direct contradiction. So let's just lay out all the contradictions. The consent prompt you see makes it sound like a protection feature. The privacy policy admits the data is sold for marketing analytics. The store listing flat out denies that data is sold to third parties. And to top it off, the policy also confirms that data is shared with an affiliated data broker and business partners. It's a mess. So who is behind all this? Urban VPN is operated by a company called Urban Cybersecurity Inc., and it turns out they're affiliated with a data broker company. This brings up some serious questions about marketplace validation. And here's the affiliate, a company called Bioscience. Their entire business is collecting and monetizing user browsing data. They specialize in gathering clickstream data, tying it to persistent identifiers, and then selling it. And they don't even really hide it if you read the fine print. The privacy policy says it loud and clear. We share the web browsing data with our affiliated company, Bioscience, that uses this raw data, which are commercially used and shared with business partners. And remember, that web browsing data now includes all of those captured AI conversations. Now, what's truly astonishing is that 7 of these 8 extensions, the ones doing all this harvesting, actually have featured badges from either Google or Microsoft. You know those little badges that are supposed to signal that the extension has passed a manual review and meets the platform's quality standards? And this behavior is in direct conflict with the marketplace's own rules. The Chrome Web Store policy explicitly prohibits selling user data to third parties like data brokers. Yet, that's exactly what their privacy policy says they're doing with brand science. So let's step back and summarize what we found here. What this investigation uncovered is a pretty large-scale data harvesting operation, running through a whole suite of browser extensions that are disguised as legitimate privacy and security tools. So to recap the key points, we have over 8 million users affected by this AI conversation harvesting that's on by default. The data is being exfiltrated to an affiliated data broker specifically for commercial use. The publisher uses contradictory statements across their store listings, their consent prompts, and their privacy policies. And somehow, these extensions still passed manual review and got featured badges from the marketplaces. This whole case really leaves us with a critical question. What is the real efficacy of manual marketplace reviews, especially when it comes to detecting data collection practices that, while maybe hidden away in a privacy policy, directly contradict the promises made right there on the storefront? It certainly points to a significant gap in the validation process.